So here we are in Atlanta with our Leadership Unplugged series with my friend Tim Ely, who is a managing principal for global deployments at Deloitte. Thank you so much, Tim.
Thank you for having me. Welcome to Atlanta.
I know, that's right, hometown.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, but before we get into sort of Leadership Unplugged, we have something pretty big to celebrate. So one way to celebrate it is, my friend, with some wine. Okay. So get your bottle of wine, let's get your glasses, and let's have a little pour, and then we'll tell everybody what we're celebrating.
I like this from the start.
All right.
Thank you, Peggy.
Tim, what do we got going on? What are we celebrating here? Pretty big month.
What we've got going on is retirement in 3.5 weeks.
3.5 weeks retirement.
Mandatory retirement, and trust me, I am okay with it. I am very okay with it.
See, those two words, they're oxymoronic. Mandatory retirement, right? That has been my aspire to state for a very long time. So I am a little bit envious of that. But before we let you sneak off to retirement, I want to just talk. You've had such a varied career. And so I want to open with a question, to you about how has your customers ever surprised you?
This year we had a great surprise. So one of the things I think we do very well is we really measure repatriation success. That's one of the key success factors for us, is how well are we repatriating our staff and our PPMDs. And so this year's survey just came back with the PPMDs continuing to go up on their repatriation satisfaction. They believe it's career enhancing, believe they're better off for having done it, their family is better off for having gone on a global deployment, and that just makes me feel good. That means we're doing things
that you've made the right investment. Because we hear so much in our industry about these failed assignments, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's this full circle sort of moment for you where we've got, when you talk about PPMDs, and I want you to define that acronym for me, but it sounds to me as though what you get is you get this sort of revelation of, yes, we did something right. So tell me a little bit what PPMD.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to use a Deloitte acronym.
That's all right.
Principal, Partner, and Managing Director. So that is really our executive level.
Got it.
And so my belief is if you do things right for the executive level, then it just rolls down. Because they come back and they say, it was good for my career, you should consider it as well. If you can do it at that level, it just cascades down. And so that's why that's been my personal focus, is the PPMDs.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So I want to go one other direction with this. And so, you talk about this executive level, and I feel there's always this sense of responsibility from a leadership perspective. So obviously they're looked to as leaders, right? You are, as you said, mandatory retirement. Tell me, what would be the leadership principles you would leave for the next generation of youth?
Well, to me, it's all been about really taking care and focusing really at all levels, but I can make the biggest impact at the PPMD level. So for our PPMDs, I'm giving them an orientation before they leave. I'm checking with them 60 days after they've gone on a deployment. I touch base with them 1 year before they're supposed to come back. I touch base with them again after they've come back. It's just a continual care of staying in touch with that group of our global deployments.
And so what I pull through from that, from a leadership perspective, it is this engagement, and you used the word care and staying in touch, right? And so important. So what's been the biggest surprise from the youth for you? So outside of the customer, I want to go to the youth side. What have you seen, the biggest surprise? Well,
I'll give you I'll look at my staff when I talk about youth, right? So I've got roughly half my staff in the U.S., and they are very experienced, very skilled staff. And then I've got a lot of very young staff in India. And, and every time I go there, I come back enthused at the energy they have and the level of enthusiasm they have in the office. And so it's always very invigorating to me to make a trip to India and spend a week with the young, they're very young India staff. And they're just a ball of energy, but it's very positive, good attitude energy.
So they keep you youthful.
They do.
Which is awesome. Okay, Tim, my last question. Tell me about retirement plans. What's first?
Well, first is going to be a little bit more golf, a little bit more squash.
All right.
A couple trips, a Danube trip, and then I'm going to try to come up with something that's very part-time. Okay. Like as in 5 hours a week.
Oh wow, that is
just to keep the brain engaged. Just to stay relevant, and so I'm going to think about that.
Yes.
In fact, I'm going to talk to you about that.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I would love that. All right, Tim, look forward to the talk. Enjoy the next 3.5 weeks. What's the actual date?
June 1.
June 1st. All right. Very good. My friend, Tim Ely. Thank you.